first thing to look for when you see an animal at the side of the road, woodlands are fantastic places to shop around for food. Upon first inspection, the first thing to look for is damage, broken wing. Do you know what? This is a good bird. This is okay so far, but there's another series of checks that you need to do. I'm going to now check for the eyes. The eyes are still in. Clear eyes are a good indicator of freshness. Very, very cloudy eyes or no eyes, it's a hint that it could be an old bird. It's been here a while, not very edible. One of the checks to do is check for fleas and flies. Easy to remember, fleas good, flies bad.
Why?
If an animal has fleas, then it suggests that it's not very old. It's still warm and the fleas are still on the body. The fleas think that the animal is still alive. A cold body will make the fleas jump off. They'll desert a sinking ship. So flies find the animal, they lay eggs in the orifices. Once the maggots have hatched, it's a little bit old and starting to go a bit putrid. This bird is actually quite soft. It's quite pliable. Rigor mortis sets in after a few hours. Now, it's not necessarily an indicator that the animal isn't fit to eat. Rigor mortis just means that the animal stiffens, and after a while it relaxes again. And when it relaxes, that's called resolution of rigor. When you buy an animal from the butchers, it's actually been through that process. Now, when meat is tenderized, it's actually decaying, and that softens the meat, and it's actually nice, especially for game. It's a good thing, and you can hang game, certain game for weeks, and it means the actual flesh is decomposing, but it's in a better state to eat. It's not as tough. Another thing to check is skin, and with skin you need to know if it moves over the muscle. If it's totally stiff and the skin is rigid, stuck to the muscle, it's probably a few days old, so you might want to leave it. Another indicator is blood. The blood needs to be quite red still, and not too much blood. If it's all over the place, then it suggests that there's been quite an injury, and that will damage the meat. Disease. Now, most people, when they see things like this on the road, they don't eat it because they think that there's just so many diseases. You can boil most diseases off. Nothing can withstand boiling point. If you have a cat, you're more likely to catch toxoplasmosis from it wandering on the sides, of the kitchen than eating something found at the side of the road. I have never been sick eating roadkill. Another one is law, and you need to know what the law is. Things like wood pigeons and stuff, it's fair game. There's no law. If it was a sheep or a cow or something like that, a farmer's animal, then you need to inform the farmer. Domestic animals, cats and dogs, no, we're not going to eat him. I think we'll let him go. Things to be aware of is climate. Warm, dry countries are really good for preserving food at the side of the road. If it's winter, it's a brilliant fridge. It's fantastic. If it's wet and it's hot, if it was a tropical country, flies and other creatures find them really quickly, and decomposition happens faster. So one of the last things that I always check is smell. This actually smells okay. Your nose is a really good indicator of freshness. If it smells bad, don't touch it. You're not starving. This isn't a hobby or an interest brought about by poverty or starvation. It's an interest brought about by wanting to eat wild food, about fostering biodiversity, about eating things that haven't been pumped full of pesticides and growth hormones and antibiotics. It's a wild animal. It's lived a happy life until one day it's been hit on the head. And that's it, end of story. It doesn't know what it's like to be caged or to be transported miles, to be de-beaked and declawed and gone through terrible, often terrible, farming practices, factory farmed practices. So For me, this is the best food there is. It doesn't look great at the moment, but it will. There's a really handy mnemonic, and that is don't eat flat and furry roadside snacks before last diagnostic smell check. And that's damage, eyes, fleas and flies, rigor mortis, skin, check the skin, blood, law, smell, and climate. So those are the things that you really need to know to have a thorough check of the animal. Okay, so this bird is okay to eat actually, so we're going to take it and we're going to cook it. Hopefully we'll find something else on our little journey back.